I used to ask women this: when do men get credit for consistency? Because the one thing I do see with women generally, when they mess up one time, they typically say, well, I don't always do this. But when you flip that, you don't seem to get that same type of respect on our side.
The example that you gave was lazy. It's no way around it. I don't care who it is that's in that position. If you lazy, you need to choose her, because this type of woman don't want that anyway.
So which one?
Definitely don't want that anyway. You need to be with your kind, because this type of woman with standards is not going for that.
That's why men can't be vulnerable with most women. This is the perfect example. The dragon ladies don't want to go 50-50 with a dude. So if a dude is paying all the bills, he should be able to go in the house and sit down with dishes in the sink.
Because I think the variables matter, though, because everybody's relationships are different, and what worked for other people may not work for some people.
No, I've been saying this for years, JR. A woman's hands should be wrinkled from the days of washing dishes, man. It's not for men to do. I mean, it's common sense, man.
I was just going to say that I always find it interesting that the women who stand firm against the patriarchy don't understand that the very perspective they have about men's masculinity is derived from that patriarchal standard. Like, it don't even got to be a man whining. A man can be quiet. He ain't got to say much. Let him get home before you. He's sitting on the couch. You knew he got home at 2:00. You get home at 6. And maybe the dishes ain't been washed. Or maybe he just having a bad day. And maybe you'll give him once. But let that mess happen consistently. It's something that, unfortunately, don't know where y'all got it from, other than maybe like the media, that y'all don't like to see men in our humanity. We don't have the room to explore what it is to be human in all facets, not with y'all. And it's unfortunate, but that's the truth. That's what men just live. Everything always comes from a standard of how you guys can digest masculinity, and that's why I laugh when I heard the term "just don't do it too much," or "okay, just a little bit." It's always going to be that for us until you guys give us the room to really explore. Go ahead, Toya.
All right.
So
can I just ask, is that why you guys I'm sorry. Is that why you guys like go to other women, or maybe confide in just other women because they allow you to be vulnerable, like, side chicks and stuff?
I could say that's one of the reasons. What I've observed is that, just like I think Willie said it, it's different when that woman is with you. Like, if you're my girl, you expect things from me differently. Whereas I can be the same man, but another woman is only getting the experience of me from maybe moments in passing. It's not intimate, but she don't judge you the same way. And sometimes, yeah, that does open up doors for men to explore, because he's now able to, speak his truth and be unfiltered in a sense. I honestly think this is why a lot of dudes spend time at the strip club. And I didn't understand it before, but I do understand it. Because even though there's a dollar amount attached, them heifers listen. Like your whole life story, they listen. You got to pay her $20, but they'll listen.
You said like about like coming home and like once or twice, like things not being done and like a threshold for that. I kind of think for me with anybody, it's like, how many times am I going to explain something to you or have the same conversation with you before it's understood? So it's not really like, oh, I'm giving you like a certain capacity. It's just that on a human level, like if I keep telling you something bothers me, like I tell my friends, I say, if you got a girlfriend, right, and she got a dude that she's dealing with and you don't like her dude, and she's coming to talk to you about her, and you're like, why don't you just leave him and this, that, and the third? How long do you think this friendship is going to last? Like, it's not going to survive very long. So, like, if you know that this is a certain level, like this is what we expect, or this is like where we are, this is what we're doing, then it shouldn't be a problem, like, if I feel a type of way that it's not done.
Okay, let's explore that. Let's explore that. Fellas, for those who are listening, fellas, how many times that you're dealing with a girl, and no matter how many times you tell her to be on time, she's on time? How many times?
Every time. That's just for the simple. I make up front. I tell you, I don't play about my time. So if I tell you you have to be somewhere at 8 and you decide to not be ready, then I just leave you.
Shifting the topic doesn't give accountability for the point that she presented. You simply passed accountability and then directed a new question. But her point was directly to your point, which was valid, because you made a point about mediocrity, basically lower than mediocrity, that a person is sitting on a couch and there's household stuff needs to be done and they continue to let it be done. So she had a direct point for point comment, and then you diverted to say basically it was a passing accountability. But the gist of it is, I agree. First, if you want mediocrity or you want someone that has low standards, don't care about household stuff, get with that type of woman. But most women, who care about themselves, who care about their household, no, we're not going to keep having conversations. You're sitting here on the couch. Why do I have to talk to you about taking care of your home if you're there? Because you said it continues to happen. So I don't think that is a gender thing. That I think that has a lot to do with the type of person that you deal with and their character. If they're lazy, because I consider that to be lazy behavior, continued patterns of a person not taking care of stuff while they're sitting on the couch, that's lazy. But secondly, I was going to say to the other point, he made a point about the UFC fighter, which is an extreme point. And then there was another extreme point about a funeral. So the point that he made about the UFC fighter, he posed to the gentleman. So now I'm going to pose this question to you ladies. If your man had funeral stuff that he was going through and he was grieving, are you not going to be sensitive to that? Are there any ladies on the panel that's going to be like, oh my God, you have 3 months to get over this? Or do you ladies also offer sensitivity if your man is going through grieving? Because I think that's ridiculous.
I was going to say, I think obviously, I'm sure most of us will say we're going to offer the sensitivity. However, I have seen where it's like, okay, you still go back to your regular scheduled program, and then you don't take into account those bad days. If that person walks in the door and they have nothing to say to you, or they just maybe respond in a way that's kind of snappy. Sometimes it's like you're used to, like, things go on and then you don't realize, oh wait, maybe because he's thinking about this, or I've seen that, and it's like it's out of sight, out of mind type thing.
I can agree.
Well, we got to walk this back, because T, you took my point and you didn't let me build, and that's fine, because I want there to be an engagement. But you completely snowballed my whole premise that I was attempting to build, even though I get that the example wasn't adequate to what you believe. What I was trying to point at is the fact of the example that I used and I illustrated is that it removes the humanity, in my opinion. You went straight to lazy. You went straight to mediocrity, which I find to be interesting, because I'm assuming this person is in a relationship with you. How they all of a sudden became lazy and mediocre, I'm not sure. I'm explaining again that most of the men understand this. Being with a woman, even out of your own conveying of your thought, has the thin performance aspect. He's man. Things need to be done. Why are you not being productive? And it should not have to be that way, in my honest opinion, because the same room is given for you guys being late, don't have no sense of direction. If there was no GPS, women would be lost. And I've yet to meet a woman who performed consistently more proficient than most men. Consistently. They need days. They cramp. They have headaches. They need to take naps. You got to feed them every 2 to 3 hours. There are so many things that go on with you guys just existing through your day. And the man shows moments of maybe weakness, maybe even ain't weakness, maybe just tired, whatever it may be. And you see that there is sometimes you're just on the panel, so I'll use you as an example, a response of now you're lazy, now you're mediocre. And I used to ask women this: when do men get credit for consistency? Because the one thing I do see with women generally, when they mess up one time, they typically say, well, I don't always do this. But when you flip that, you don't seem to get that same type of respect on our side. What I typically see. And I'll learn.
When you're saying that they don't get that same kind of respect, like in what capacity do you mean?
I think that, just keeping it simple, when men are dealing with women, we kind of already operate with she's going to be inadequate and make a lot of mistakes, probably more than once. There's so many men that I meet just in passing that talk about their wives still spending more than a budget, and they've been married 13 years, 14 years. But he ain't divorcing her. That can be considered abuse. That can be considered inadequate. That can be considered retarded, because why do I got to keep on explaining to you that you don't need to go over the budget? But when you flip that, women say what y'all say. Well, I shouldn't have to continue to repeat myself. And it's like, interesting. That's what I mean by
it goes both ways. Like, I don't think as a man you should have to say the same thing over and over again either. At some point in time, it's going to get to a point where he's just going to walk away. Like, he's just going to go find another place where he just doesn't have to talk as much. I don't really think it's like women just treat men this particular way, even though the mass is like the number is higher than it is the other way. Because I hear men say the same thing. Like, I don't doubt that it exists, because I hear a lot of men say that, and they talk more so like, oh, it's our type of women that do like this. It's not the other type of women. But even in those statements, like, I feel like Black men like tear Black women down a little bit to build them back up in the end. Like, it's like, we don't want to deal with you because of this, but we love you. And it's just kind of a little weird to me. But I don't know.
The example that you gave was lazy. It's no way around it. I don't care who it is that's in that position. Anybody that is sitting on a couch and there are things that need to be done, that is different than sometimes I have to remind my man about his mom's birthday or special holidays, or sometimes my spouse is late, or I'm not even going to say sometimes, that this is a part of who they are. They have a bad memory and they don't remember holidays, birthdays and stuff. So I have to do that for them. Whereas a woman, we may take more time to do our hair, etc. That's very different than when I come in my house and you sitting your ass on this couch doing nothing when there are things that need to be done. There's no way around it. And I don't care who it was, if that was a kid, if that was my in-laws, that is lazy. Why are you sitting down doing nothing constantly when you see shit need to be done? I land there.
Trev, let me ask you a question, champ. Or just general, like, for what you heard what she just said, who wants to come home to that? Like, where you can't even rest just because there's dishes in the sink. Or if she comes home, like, but okay. Besides, I think that's a common sense question. Trev, right. Of the women on the panel, who do you think would actually be, like, who would you, of the women on the panel, who would you want your son to choose after saying as far as someone to build with? And mind you, in this example, your son is an ideal type of nigga that women want in general. Which type of woman do you think would be good for your husband, for your son to go be vulnerable with, that is not going to be stressed out at the house?
If you lazy, you need to choose her, because this type of woman don't want that anyway.
So which one?
Definitely don't want that anyway. You need to be with your kind, because this type of woman with standards is not going for that.
You just, yeah.
So if I had to choose based off of the information that we got here today, I would say Jay had the best answer and would be the most reasonable.
And do you think that more women are like Jay or not like Jay?
Oh yeah, well, I know for sure most women are not like that.
And this is why why men can't be vulnerable with most women. This is the perfect example. Like, Trev, I know what you did. I mean, True, I know what you were doing. So good luck. But this is why. Like, there's always even like the niggas that like those women want. Like even the like we call them the dragon ladies. Even the men dragon ladies want. They still think that they get that guy who was, you know what I'm saying, a dragon slayer, but they when he gets in the house, they get to say, well, you don't get the rest because there's dishes in the sink. Or because, again, right? And I would assume the dragon ladies don't want to go 50-50 with a dude. So if a dude is paying all the bills, he should be able to go in the house and sit down with dishes in the sink. Like, would that not be an unrealistic? Toya, would you have an issue with that? If your man pays all the bills and you come in the house and see dishes in the sink, right? Because you got your ideal guy, right? That's in my example. You come in the house and he's sitting
I
on
don't think it's the same, because if I have
just answer the
somebody
question first and
who's
then give me the context.
okay, no, I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Okay, go ahead.
If I'm with somebody who's paying all of the bills, obviously don't have to work. If I don't have to work, I will be the one handling all of those things, you know, making sure that there's no dishes in the sink and stuff of that nature. So like, I don't think that would be an issue. So
you think that to be fair, the majority of women who men pay all the bills, you think they don't work?
No.
Okay. You said you don't think that, so we're good. No problem. All right,
he just shifted this scenario to fit his narrative. First off, the scenario never was about who pays what. The scenario was specifically that I get off of work, and then he said constantly. So again, I don't care. That wouldn't be if you have standards.
If it's like a consistent thing, then that's different, because absolutely. I feel like that would bother anybody. Like if I'm home all day and my man is at work and he come home every single day and there's dishes in the sink and I ain't cooked nothing every single day, sooner or later he gonna get tired of me too. Like, let's be for real.
Yeah, but can we just say, like, okay, what is this man doing? Does he have a laborious job? Is he like playing video games all day, working 10 to 2? Like, is he getting up?
No, I'm just saying. In general,
that's all a factor, though. Is he getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning and then getting home at 5? And his time to decompress is 2 hours sit on the couch regardless of what else is going on. I don't give a shit. I don't have that laborious job.
That's what I'm saying.
I just think that is that the context or what is?
But
maybe Miss T can answer that. I don't.
That would be the context, because I'm saying, like, I wouldn't have a problem with me coming home and having dishes in the sink, especially if he's out working all day. That's the least I could do, to take whatever off his plate.
But do you see how you guys are continuing to add variables on something as trivial as?
Because I think the variables matter, though, because everybody's relationships are different, and what works for other people may not work for some people.
Okay, I'm not arguing that, Toya. I'm trying to keep things on
the variables are important too, because if you're just saying about like she said about a person who's just sitting back, like doing absolutely nothing, playing video games all day. And it's like, let's just say, like, you deal with a woman and you come home and all she did was play with her fingernails and her toenails all day. And you didn't work all day. I mean, like, I would think that you would expect, like, something to be done. Like, you wouldn't want to walk in and be stepping all over stuff in the floor and laundry all over the place and nothing to eat, no groceries ordered. And, like, you would expect some sort of balance there, no?
I think I'm not. This is the challenge sometimes with talking to women, is because you guys have this keen ability to find the hardest examples of almost abuse. I didn't say anything about video games. I didn't even say anything about a laborious job. I said if that man got to the house before you and he just so happened to not get to the dishes and you walk in after you get off work and you know. And I'm saying in that exchange. And then I said, and let's say it happens a few times. Then how many times is too many times? The whole point of that was to bring
you said this was happening consistently all
That's
the time.
That's what I thought I heard you.
So that means every day we come home every day.
That's why I added Trev. That's true. That's fine. That's why I added he pays all the bills, but he does that consistently. So I gave him something that he does good consistently, because all y'all do is focus on the negative.
So
let's
he
keep it
was
real
the
though.
one that
It's not even.
changed your
It's,
narrative. Let's be clear. It wasn't the
it's
women. He changed your narrative. We stuck to your original narrative. And because he started adding all of these additives, then we're like, okay, well, if you consider paying bills, well, how about consider this? How about, but just sticking to your basic narrative, which is this happens all the time. Again, there's no change with me. I don't care who it is. If it's a pattern, you know, this is your household too. You got home before your mate, whoever it is, even if it was the female, vice versa. Your ass got home before your mate, and you just continuously in a pattern are sitting there when there's stuff that needs to be done around the house. I just don't find that to be acceptable.
If he gets home before, if you get home before him, you're not paying bills. You're still waiting him to do that.
Again, you added that to the narrative. That was not his
I'm just using your
scenario.
own logic against
We can then spin this to so many different narratives if you keep adding to it,
I
but just
just use
sticking
your
to
own
what
logic.
he said.
Whoever gets home first to do the stuff at the house, the bills. There's a bill on the table needs to get paid. I bet you she walked past that the same way he walked past them dishes.
All right, I'm gonna play some more clip, but before I do, Kayada, you wanted to chime in what you heard so far?
Well, salute JR, man. It's been a long time. Salute to the panel. So I just got in on this part, and you know, I've been saying this for years, JR. A woman's hands should be wrinkled from her days of washing dishes, man. It's not for men to do. I mean, it's common sense, man. So, you know, from what I've heard so far, you know, this is what God made women to do: is domestic chores and tasks. You know, if you know, if you're a guy and you leave a dish or two and nobody's around, you should probably wash your own goddamn dish. But you know, generally speaking, these tasks are for women to do because you know women don't have a problem with asking you to fix a tire for them or something that a man is capable of doing that's laborious. So yeah, man, absolutely. Yeah,
How you feel about that, T?
that's it.
I think T agree with you, Kayada.
Go on and play the clip because I'm gonna come back to you.